Hey everyone, welcome back to the Gaming Lore channel. Ninjas are described as powerful fighters that can manipulate the energy around them. This secret way of fighting was typically only found in the Far East, but it somehow made its way directly to you. You start your adventure as a rogue, talking to your guildmaster Jack to set you up for a job. He has you investigate Wineport with your fellow rogue underfoot when you hear screaming. You investigate and find a woman surrounded by 3 unconscious men. She tells you that she's fine and that they knocked each other out before leaving, but something doesn't add up. None of the men have a scratch on them. You follow her and keep finding a trail of bodies wherever she goes without being able to catch up. One of the men tells you to return something to Master Obaro, placing it in your hands. You track her down as someone from the shadows attacks. You try to defend her, but you find that she's more than capable. The two begin to fight, but are interrupted by another ninja, Obaro. He orders that this man in red named Karasu stop, as Karasu narrates the situation. 3 childhood friends that stand on opposite sides of each other. He leaves, and Obaro introduces himself and the woman you've been chasing to you. Her name is Tsubame, and they're from a village named Doma, an imperial province that fought against the Guardian Empire. They ultimately lost after being betrayed by their closest friend, Karasu. They both travel to Eorzea to track him down and kill him for his crimes. Before they leave, you remember to hand over the item that the dying man gave you earlier, only for it to start responding to you. The soul crystal resonates with you, and seeing that you have the makings of a ninja, Obaro offers to train you as a ninja in exchange for knowledge of the area and any help you can offer. You begin to learn what it means to be a shinobi, a ninja, training your mind as well as your blade to be strong. You learn your techniques quickly, using a new mudra, or hand gestures, to channel your energy. During your training with Obaro, Karasu ambushes the both of you, monologuing about tradition. He retreats after you deal with some of the Imperials he brought with him, and Obaro explains that they both trained under the same person, their master, Gekkai. Karasu was the only person seen fleeing Doma after everyone was slaughtered there. Even Gekkai was left in an unrecognizable state, and Obaro has been trying to find the reason why Karasu betrayed everyone, and why he didn't just attack them full force at every opportunity. Over the course of your training, you learn new techniques and run an espionage mission in the hot springs with Tsubame. The two of you manage to get information on where Karasu would be heading next, and ambush him at night. He escapes once again, being lectured by a mysterious man he refers to as Master. Karasu puts you through a test to get your shinobi garb by placing each piece of it in a chest in different locations. At the end of his test, he leaves a note. He'll be attacking the storehouse that Obaro and Tsubame have been staying in. You go to find the place attacked with Tsubame wounded, and finally confront Karasu with no place to run. You defeat him, and he reveals the truth. He wasn't the one who slaughtered his village. He came to the same scene that Obaro did, but fled in search of answers. It was then that he found himself with a blade at his neck, held by their master Gekkai. He offered him a choice of either joining him as an Imperial spy, or dying on the spot. He tells you where you can find him, and gives Obaro some parting advice. Live. He may not have been the hero he thought he was, but he wasn't the villain Obaro thought he was either. He was unapologetic himself, and plans to be to the very end. Before Obaro could stop him, Karasu launches himself into the air with a smile and an explosion. While his main mission of seeing Karasu killed is over, Obaro struggles to accept what he said as the truth. After some time, he decided to go in search of his former master, alone. You and Tsubame track him down, hidden away in the shadows as he confronts Gekkai. He asks him why he betrayed his own people and joined the Guardian Empire, why he decided to throw away everything he's ever taught him. Gekkai's response only fuels Obaro's lust for revenge even more, as he explains that he did it out of necessity, that the city was spared from destruction at the cost of sacrificing its people. He found a new master of his own and a supply of loyal subordinates that would do anything he told them to. Tsubame appears in front of them, showing them just how different their resolves are. That no matter how many blind followers Gekkai has, Obaro fights with companions that share the same values that he does, and that's stronger than any army. The 3 of you all join together, and after a long fight, you all avenge the people of Doma with a final blow. Obaro reflects on what transpired, and wishes that Karasu were alive to see them victorious. It's at that moment that Karasu laughs in the distance, appearing from the shadows and smiling. He faked his death just like Gekkai did, and is happy to see the 3 of you bring him down. Oboro asks that he come back with them to Doma, but Karasu explains he can never come back. Not after all the things he's done. He gives up his soul crystal to give to Oboro and deliver the news that their mission was successful, that the traitor to their village is no more. Oboro chooses to stay behind in secret and not return to Doma when, after some time, you both are summoned by your guildmaster, Jack. He talks to you both about some rumors he heard of a thief and asks that you investigate with him. The robber has been using shinobi techniques, making you two the most qualified to help. The three of you meet Mulfa Kelfa, the person whose goods were stolen, and you all pursue leads until you find the culprit. Before you can properly apprehend the thief, however, Mulfa comes back, telling his bodyguard to dispose of all of you. He doesn't want anyone else to know what was stolen from him, and plans to keep it a secret. In a less than epic battle, you defeat both of them, and the thief thanks you. She calls upon her assistant, Akagi, to explain the situation, revealing that she is Princess Yatsurugi, not Yuki, and she has been searching for her family's 5 treasures that were stolen from them. She's already recovered 3 of them and wants to spare no time in searching for the rest. You and Oboro offer your assistance, but Yuki refuses to accept any help, especially from people from Doma, and runs off. Nonetheless, Akagi asks for your help and you do your best to keep the stubborn princess out of trouble. In trying to help Yuki get her treasures back, you slowly start to win over her trust. She proves herself to be very skilled, and while you help her as much as you can, she still acts as though you're in the way. On one of the missions, you have a run-in with a shinobi named Red Way, who worked under Gekkai while he was alive. Oboro arrives to help you fight off the group he brought with him, but Red Way manages to get away. In trying to get information on Yuki's final treasure, you discover that Red Way is working with pirates under Captain Rosalind. When you relay the information to Yuki, she finally explains just why she acts the way she does. The pirate group calls themselves the True Hounds, and when they stole all the treasures of her family, she wasn't allowed to lift a finger to help any of them. They all died protecting her, and she vowed to never let anyone else die on her behalf. She's pushed everyone away because of that, but you, Oboro and Akagi, have managed to convince her that she can't take everything on alone. She accepts your help, on the condition that none of you die for her sake. With everyone on the same page, you meet up for the final mission to get Yuki's last treasure, but have to do so quietly once she realizes a few of her vassals from home have come looking for her. You continue with the mission, but Akagi gets injured in the process. Nonetheless, you're successful in retrieving the final treasure, until you all hear Redway's voice in the distance. He gives Yuki an ultimatum: come with him, or he'll kill all the vassals that have come looking for her. She has no other choice but to go with him. But before she goes, she tells you to take care of Akagi. With the princess in captivity, you and Oboro put together a plan to rescue her without getting more attention than you need. He acts as though you two went your separate ways, and turns himself into Redway for you to follow them. Meanwhile, Yuki attempts to ask Captain Rosalind to free her vassals now that she came along willingly, but Rosalind just laughs in her face. With Oboro finally arriving at their base of operations, Redway thinks he's won, excitedly talking about the idea of destroying the old shinobi and becoming the leader of a new era of ninjas, when suddenly you and Akagi come out of the shadows. You take out Redway, Rosalind, and all the pirates under them, and give Yuki the freedom to go home with her family's treasures. She returns home, and after a while, she sends a letter to Doma's elders to praise Oboro for his help. While this would normally get him in trouble for staying in Eorzea without them knowing, they actually prefer that he stays there, even going as far as asking him to stay there until he's summoned back to the village. Fortunately, there's plenty of work to be done, and you both head to Jack for another mission. He informs you both about people claiming to be Doman citizens swindling some pirates. They made a deal for safe entry to Eorzea, but neglected to pay, so the group of pirates that escorted them have sold the only treasure they left behind, a scroll. In your pursuit to retrieve it and apprehend the Domans who didn't bother to pay, you, Oboro, and Jack run into a familiar face, Karasu. He tells you that the scroll you're looking for is already on its way elsewhere, and that there's a lot more going on here than it seems. After traveling to the east, you manage to find the ones with the scroll. A band of samurai named the Garnet League, led by a woman named Sakura Brightblood. You steal the scroll at a hot spring, a very popular destination for these quests, and find out that it's half a forbidden summoning Mudra that disappeared during the Garlean invasion 25 years ago. Before you can celebrate, however, Karasu tells you he's kidnapped all your friends, Underfoot, Vukebe, and Tsubame, and will only let them go if you follow what he says and give up the scroll. His little game has you recruit Princess Yuki and Akagi for help to defeat the Garnet League, freeing Underfoot and Vukebe. pitting you against them when all according to Karasu's plan, but before freeing Tsubame, he demands that you hand him the scroll. Oboro tosses it to him as Karasu throws Tsubame toward you, only for the scroll to be taken by his master, Hanzo. He burns Karasu to ash, claiming that as a part of the Kagekakushi clan, he aims to get rid of all descendants of Sasuke the Shamed, the original Doman shinobi. He leaves you all in disbelief, but Tsubame reassures you that he still can't use the scroll on its own. The summoning won't work unless the second half of the scroll is used. Both she and Oboro go back to their village to figure out where to find the other half. After some time, you, Oboro, and Tsubame go to visit an old hermit named Master Kamui. It takes some time, but he shares the story about the origin of Doma and the history of Sasuke and Hanzo I. Sasuke was the apprentice of Hanzo many years ago and was sent on a mission to free the people of the village from their dictators using their summoning scrolls. While he was successful, he didn't want anyone else to use such a powerful mudra and split the scroll in two. This mission was done in secret, and as Sasuke taught the people of Doma ninjutsu, Hanzo's descendants from his clan started to form their own twisted version of the story. They branded Sasuke as a traitor, and all these years later, it would seem that Hanzo's descendants want to take what they think is rightfully theirs. Yuki and Jack interrupt you, telling you that they've seen boats full of the Kagekakuchi on their way to retrieve the scroll. As you and your friends prepare for the oncoming threat, you get the sneaking suspicion that Hanzo will be trying to get the scroll another way. Rather than stay with your friends to face the dozens of shinobi, you tell Oboro that you're going to follow a hunch and take off in the direction of the scroll. You find what looks to be Master Kamui, but you see through the disguise. Hanzo laughs as he explains that his army is all just a part of his powerful ninjutsu. His group of a handful of loyal followers have been made to appear like a horde of shinobi, and you all fell for it. With both scrolls in hand, he begins summoning the legendary beast that freed Doma, only for a pack of bunnies in black mage outfits to appear. As he is in disbelief, a familiar face comes in to explain that he's been bested. Karasu, back from the dead, explains how he swapped the scrolls long before Hanzo had any idea what was going on. He faked his death once again and had been lying in wait to take him down. The two of you fight together to take him down, finally putting an end to his schemes. As Karasu leaves, your friends all arrive, happy to announce their victory over the Kagekakuchi clan. You tell Oboro the news, but as happy as he is to hear that Karasu is alive, it dawns on him that this means that now he has the scroll. As he plans on ways to get it back, Jack takes the fake scroll back to complete his mission. Yuki goes back to Eorzea to find Akagi, and Tsubame is left to explain why Oboro will be leaving once again. Mission or duty aside, Oboro finally learns to accept that even though it goes against his responsibilities, there are some things that he has to see through for his own sake. The next time you see him, he's more than eager to tell you about his master plan to get the scroll back. He's discovered that Karasu is living in Hermit's hovel and plans to distract him at the bathhouse while he has you sneak into his room to steal the scroll. The plan is successful, and Oboro and Karasu drink together while you sneak off with them laughing together. Later, you meet with Oboro, who looks ecstatic that his plan worked flawlessly when you're both invited to a dinner by Jack. You both accept and are treated to a feast with the companions you've met over time as rogue and shinobi. While you're celebrating, however, a half-naked Oboro comes running out in a panic, claiming that he is the real Oboro. The one beside you breaks their disguise, revealing themselves to be Karasu. It turns out that while you were stealing the scroll, Oboro enjoyed himself a little too much during his reunion with Karasu and fell asleep. You all realize that while his plan was successful in stealing the scroll, you end up handing it right back to Karasu anyway. The ninja laughs, claiming you still have a long way to go before you can beat him, and turns into a bat to fly away. Oboro vows to eventually surpass his rival, and Jack reminds you to come visit often, as it seems both your rogue and ninja friends will probably need you again someday. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you haven't watched our other ones, I highly recommend checking them out. We have the Warrior and the Dark Knight. And if you'd like to hear more from me, I'm exclusively on YouTube. I make videos and I stream. youtube.com/Eorzea. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.